How are you today?
I'm doing good, Mr. Lewis. Thank you. What about you?
Another day.
Another day, right?
$1.50 minus tax.
There you go. That's a good one.
Yeah, trying to go home, man. I'm freaking tired.
You look like a pilot?
I'm a flight attendant. I am working on my pilot's license, thank you.
Oh, you are?
Yeah, I'm a student pilot right here in Pagefield.
So you actually do want to switch from the cabin to the cockpit?
I can only deal with passengers so much.
Right?
I mean that in a sense of like I don't want to do this for the rest of my life. I do enjoy the job. I love it. I love the company I work for.
Okay.
But you know, that's not my goal. That's not my end goal. I never like, oh, I'm a flight attendant. This is it.
Like this is it, right?
No.
This is my dream.
Exactly.
No.
I love it though. It's great.
It's sort of smart though to do first flight attendant and later, or then simultaneously work on your flight license.
It's a longer route. I could take a loan out and do all the things to whatever, but I've chosen not to. I actually used to push back airplanes in the terminal.
Oh really? You did that too?
Bags in the belly, push airplanes back, clean airplanes, all that stuff. Then I went to the regionals. And did the regionals, the small airplanes, just
wait, where did you do that first?
It's called the company is called Republic Airways. They are not a subsidiary. They're kind of like a third party company that gets hired by Delta, United, and American, and they do the Delta connections, the American Eagle.
Here in Fort Myers.
No. I was based in Pittsburgh, and they are their headquarters is out of Indianapolis.
Okay.
But it's the same. I could live. I've never moved out of Fort Myers.
Oh
really?
really?
Work in the airline industry. You can commute. Like right now, I'm based out of Atlanta. I'm off for 3 days. I came home. Then 3 days from now, I fly to Atlanta and start my trip.
So you fly to Atlanta to start your trip, your first trip, and then you end up in Atlanta.
And then I fly
back. But you choose to keep living here.
Correct. Yeah. I would say 80%. Probably that's excessive. 80% of the people that work in the airline industry do not live in the base they work at.
But why wouldn't you want to be based here?
Because this is not a base for Delta, and actually, as a matter of fact, no airline has a base in Fort Myers. They have hubs or bases in big hub airports, like Atlanta is for Delta, Newark is for United, or Houston is for United. We also have JFK and LaGuardia for Delta.
So all airlines fly on an airport.
Correct.
Or a lot of them. But when you say it's their base, that means that you have everything. Offices and
operations of every kind. Yeah. Mechanics, they're based there. They have other aircrafts based there. They have they have offices, HR, marketing, all these operational, that has to happen on a day-to-day for just an aircraft to leave. On a small aircraft like this, in a small airport like this, Delta has 1 or 2 people that they're permanently here,
Okay.
They hire people that work directly for Delta, but it's not a hub. Like, these people report to Atlanta.
So basically, you just fly in here and you leave again.
Correct.
It doesn't stay overnight.
If it does, we stay at hotels and stuff, and then the next day you leave.
Oh, yeah. So before we talk any further, do I have your permission to record our conversation for my YouTube channel? Sure. I have a YouTube channel. You don't mind?
Yeah, I don't mind. I don't care. Yeah.
Well, unless you fall asleep because you said you were tired, that's fine too. This is my card.
Thank you.
And I just record the conversations with my passengers, not with all of them, because some people are just plain boring. But this is already interesting. So
yeah, I got some stories. I'll tell you.
A list of questions also. So.
Yeah, I mean, for people that are interested on the airline industry right now, all the airlines are hiring.
Oh, they are?
So yeah, we're hiring. Delta this year is hiring 4,000 to 6,000 flight attendants alone.
Wow.
I don't know
how much does a flight attendant make?
So in Delta, we start off at. We just got a pay raise actually. We start at $33.80 if I'm not mistaken, an hour.
$33.80 an hour.
Plus per diem, plus what's it called? Plus boarding pay.
So, but what does that amount to in a month? Like you make
it depends on how many flight hours you do.
Right.
Delta is the only airline that actually pays for boarding pay, meaning that as soon as passengers are cleared to board, we start getting paid a certain amount of money. Flight hours, the 3380 that I told you, that is a flight hour, meaning the door's closed, the door just closed. From door closed to door open.
That's flight hour.
Flight hour. So let's say that you work in a month 80 to 100 hours a month of flight hours. Mm-hmm. Then you would do your math of 3380 times 100.
Right.
That's not including your per diem. Per diem is basically what the company gives you for food.
Okay.
It's like a stipend. So
stipend. Yeah.
That is about these are so small numbers that it's like $2.50 or 60 cents an hour in addition to your pay.
Oh, okay, that's not a whole lot. But then your net pay, if you just work full time, I would say like around maybe 4,000.
Yeah, 4 to 5, depending on how hard. And again, this is starting pay. Delta maxes out, so in 12 years, that every year you get a pay escalation, right? Mm-hmm. And then Delta maxes out at 12 years with $76 an hour.
Oh, that is pretty good.
It is for a flight attendant.
That's it.
A lot of people think, but again, we're the highest paying airline.
Oh, really?
We're not unionized, so you don't have to pay dues to anybody. Like your paycheck.
So this is the same internationally as this domestic?
No. So no mainline. So again, that's what I was explaining to you earlier. I used to work for a regional. So regional mainly is a smaller aircraft, domestic, right? They only do like LaGuardia to Atlanta to Grand Rapids. Those smaller airports that not a lot of people in bigger airplanes don't fly to.
Right.
Then regionals with smaller aircrafts, they have their own contract. They're a completely different company, representing and contracted by Delta. They make a lot less. Mainline Delta, meaning headquarters Delta and whatever we operate, falls into that category.
Okay.
As far as flight attendants and pilots, the people that operate or prepare a regional aircraft that comes into Fort Myers that is a Delta aircraft, but is ran by Republic. The rampers if they're contracted by Delta, they get paid Delta money to operate these aircrafts. That difference in pay that I was talking about is mainly for flight attendants and pilots that are hired either by Delta mainline or by a subsidiary or a contract or company that was contracted by Delta. And that applies to every other airline, main or big legacy airline like American Airlines, United.
Wow. So how long have you been a flight attendant?
A flight attendant about 2 years now.
2 years. But you know all the ins and outs.
Well, I am studying aeronautical science too. So.
Oh, right. Exactly.
I mean, that's the point. Yeah. That's exactly why I wanted to start from the bottom, like per se. Because once you get to where you want to be, whether as a pilot or work corporate on the airline industry, it's good to know all these things because
So how did this work for you? As a kid, you wanted to be a pilot, or you? Well, I mean, how come you first pushing back aircraft? At that time, you already had the dream of becoming a pilot?
Yeah,
or
well, the funny thing, I was in the Marine Corps for 9 years.
In the Marine Corps?
Yeah.
Wow, thank you for your service, man.
Yeah, it's an honor.
It's
peeling back even more, you're coming back. So, after I got out, after I did 2 enlistments and an extension in the Marine Corps, I got out as a staff sergeant. I decided to go to school. Which I go to school online in Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University. So meanwhile I was, going to school, I decided, let me start getting into the airline industry. So Unify, it's a company that does the ground operations for Delta and United and other companies around the United States. They focus on ground operations, pushback, cleaning, operations in the ground. Was hiring part-time in Panama City where I was staying with my family back in the day. I was doing online. There was an Air Force base. I was like, let me do a part-time since they're hiring part-time. Let's see if I get hired. I got hired on the spot.
On the spot, right?
We'll see you tomorrow. You're a veteran, you're Hispanic, and you're studying aeronautical science. We want you. I'm like, okay, cool. Started learning. And you start you start networking within, which that's exactly what I wanted, within the industry. Start talking to pilots, 5 minutes here, they're on the ground, they're waiting for fuel or whatever.
Sure.
And I'm just there, like, hey, how's it going? Blah, blah, whatever. Start talking to flight attendants. You start kind of getting the input, from the good opinion to the bad opinion to my day is great to I hate this job, So...
But that's how then the dream grows, I guess.
Yeah.
Because you hear their stories, you listen to the good and the bad about the occupation, and then finally It
made a better decision too, that if I, when I decided to actually apply for, let's say, I say, you know what, I'm going to become a pilot, that's going to take a while. I knew, because then I started talking to pilots, right? And what's the fastest route? What's the cheapest route? Because, I'm paying out of pocket for most of this until the GI Bill, which is the military money, kicks in. I was like, you know what, let me, flight attendants don't get paid bad, more than what I'm making here. And if I want to focus on that, let me go there. So I moved up from ground operations to full-time regional. And that's when I saw that Delta was hiring, and I applied again. I'm in school. I'm like, if they hire me, good. If not, well, this is a great pay increase. From like $18 an hour to $33 an hour. It's like, okay, I can work a lot less and focus on what I want to focus.
But it's also training, no? You have to do a training as a...
Yes. So the training for, you mean for flight attendant? Yeah. Flight attendant training is in Atlanta for us. It's paid minimum wage as far as the 6-week training that we do.
It's only 6 weeks?
Yes.
Oh.
But after that, once you graduate, obviously you start making the normal 33. But meanwhile you're in training, you get the minimum wage of Georgia, sorry.
Okay.
6 weeks is in Atlanta headquarters. It's honestly, it's not bad. Even for somebody that, because again, I was a flight attendant already, so I kind of understand what I was getting myself into. But even people that have never done the job, today they're flying, and they're focused on safety, which is our job as flight attendants. Basically.
Right, that is your main focus, of course.
Correct.
Safety.
But again, we do the service that Delta's known for, which people come back over and over, even though obviously our prices are a little higher than other airlines. But yeah, that's what we focus on.
Hey, and so do you already know what you want to fly?
So I'm gonna. You remember how I made it? I've made it when I fly an Airbus 350.
Okay.
That's when I'm like, you know what? I'm done.
That's the kind of plane, or is that the kind of route, or
just the plane itself?
The plane itself.
I love the innovation of that. I'm an Airbus guy. I don't know. Look, I'm American. I love the other Airbus though. Airbus has it. There's, I love it. I love their fly-by everything. The Europeans.
Is that fly-by-wire?
Fly-by-wire, 100%.
Well, that's all of them is fly-by-wire probably, but it's with the stick, right?
There's a slightly difference, but yeah, this is a stick. Like you push this with a thumb with your pinky, and it's like, you have a 350 passenger aircraft just either going up or down.
Right.
But the innovation, the computer, the just the reach that it does, it's just a great. I mean, and we power it with Rolls-Royce engines that are super reliable, and I love it. That's my dream. And in between, I was like,
So what kind of routes does a plane like that fly on? Is that international, I suppose?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Those aircrafts are more.
How long can they stay
maximize the potential of that aircraft? Sorry.
How long can they stay in the air?
So it depends on the configuration, but right now the longest route that an Airbus 350-1000 does is Qantas, does Sydney, New York. That's roughly 18 hours of flight.
18 hours in the air?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. What do you do as a pilot for 18 hours?
Well, they have like 4 pilots, because they can only,
pilots?
Yeah, they can only fly, I think, 8 hours continuously.
Yeah.
Before they have to do, go on a break. But that is the reason why I like these, and those are the routes. Like we have Airbus 350s, Delta does, and we fly Atlanta, Johannesburg.
Okay.
We fly LA, Sydney.
Wow.
We fly Detroit, Tokyo.
Wow.
And those are 17, 16-hour flights, So.
This is amazing. Yeah. And then you have you have 4 pilots, of course. You have to do shifts. But that must be amazing to fly in a machine like that.
It's like a spaceship inside.
Yeah.
It's like a spaceship.
I can imagine.
It's beautiful.
Well, so how far are you right now with the training?
I started in December.
Okay.
Last month I didn't fly a lot. I only have like 10 hours right now.
Okay.
I just started.
And you flying on what?
It's a Piper 100i. It's like a Cherokee that the Piper has. I think it's a Cherokee.
Is that smaller than a Cessna? 170.
It's the same. It's the same. 172, 152.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's the same capacity.
Same.
The only difference with this one is that instead of having the wings over, it has the wings under.
Oh, okay.
You know, but it's the same. It's used for training. The 152 is a trainer.
Sure. You have 10 hours, so you're not solo yet.
No, not yet.
That would be a miracle.
Yeah, I know. But 40
hours before you solo.
It really depends on the individual. Like if you've done your test, if you have your medical, if you have the knowledge. And I talked to the instructors and a lot of the people that are managing the school that I'm going to. 40, 45, they've soloed.
Okay. Well, you're on your way.
But obviously that's
just the beginning, because
then you have certifications.
Yeah.
You know, you have to do.
It takes about 2 years, no? It might be even longer.
About.
I can guess it. Well,
but meanwhile, I'm still in the industry. I'm traveling. I love it.
I can imagine you working at the same time in the industry. Yeah, you're not in a hurry. You still seem like sort of young.
31.
I mean, I don't see any gray hairs yet.
No. Working on them.
Oh yeah. You're working on it? What do you mean?
Breathing and living?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, like, oh, okay.
Yeah, just getting there, you know, slowly. But time flies, so I'm really like tomorrow I have training, and then so tomorrow.
But let me see, you were in the Marines pretty young as well.
20.
Like in your 20s? 20?
20 to 20.
What made you choose the Marines?
Well, since I was young, I was kind of focused on, hey, if you're going to do something, just go 100%. You know, like if you're going to go and get into something, you're going to be the best. And, you know, my family has always been there for me, thank God, it always provided. So it's one of the opportunities that I was like, you know what, I need some discipline. If I'm going to get into something. Oh, really? So I started looking into the academies, like the Naval Academy, the Coast Guard Academy. And I remember I was almost accepted to the Coast Guard Academy when my friend in Miami, female, this is so stupid, but she's like, hey, I'm joining the Marines. And I'm like, you're doing what? You know, obviously that thought has been in the back of my mind.
I mean, the Marines is way more tough than the Coast Guard, right?
Yeah. Oh, listen, that's by far.
By far.
So have in mind though, in 2011 when I joined, they're still sending battalions to Iraq and Afghanistan. Yeah. So you know that is still the fear of a lot of the people. Like, hey, you know, we don't know when this war is going to end.
Right.
You don't know if literally after you finish training, the first thing you do is you get sent to Afghanistan. So obviously, I'm trying to do college. That's why I'm trying to go to the military.
But Marines are also sent all over the world to protect the embassies.
Yeah. Well, you see, I didn't know all this. The only mentality of pictures that I have of Marines is they're in war, they're in combat, they're the first ones to be sent.
Right.
At some point, I was like, you know what? Whatever. I'm gonna go. So I go to
She can do it, I'm gonna do it.
Yeah, there you go. So that's my mentality. 2011, what was it? June 20th, I signed papers. I go in for just information. At the end, I'm like, you know what? This is what I want to do. I'm joining the military anyway. There's no convincing here. I'm just here to see what are my pros and cons, because I'm going to join a branch. That's decided. My parents have always said, hey, we support you, just be careful, and you know. Sure. So I walk out of there with an appointment to come back and sign papers. I don't tell my parents. I'm 20, so you know, I'm like, they know I'm going to join the military, and I don't want to hear it. I'm just going to do it. Whatever. It's the best branch. And if you know what, if I don't make it in the army, in the Marine Corps, I'm going to go to the army, and then I'm going to go down. Not that the army is less or whatever. It's just, it is what it is. You know, that's my mentality. And the Marine Corps they're tougher. Now I know for sure. I go sign papers. I come back to my house, and then I tell my parents, like, hey, you guys I got to talk to you guys. So they sit in like in the couch for weird, you know, like, who do you get pregnant, you know? And I'm like, whoa, it's not about that.
Right?
I think it's worse.
In a way.
Yeah, right. And then I'm like, well, I joined the Marine Corps. Like,
you told them like that?
Just I mean, how do you go about it? You know, I joined the Marine Corps. You know how I've tried to like join the military. I decided on a branch. They're like, okay, are you gonna go talk to them? No, I joined them. Like, papers are signed. I'm going to boot camp. I don't know exactly when, because like literally that same day I told them. So that's June 20th.
When did it start for you? They
were surprised because they had never told me that my dad was this close to joining the Marine Corps one time.
Oh, really?
But because I came in and everything, he threw away the plans. Because now, there's a kid at home. There's no way you're going to join the military, blah, blah, so you're staying home. I didn't know that story, which it threw me off. But anyway, it worked out perfectly. My dad was super proud. My family, of course,
Yeah.
And then August 1st. So June 20th, August 1st, I'm in Paris on it. Asking myself, why did I do this?
Yeah, right.
What was I thinking?
Right.
And 9 years later, 6 ranks later, it was the best decision of my life.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Yeah? How was boot camp though?
It got me prepared. Boot camp was, I have it vividly recorded in my mind. That's never going to leave me. It's something that I think every Marine, whether you hate it or love it, it's a hate-love relationship, we say.
How can you love it?
It doesn't matter if you hate it or love it. It's with you for the rest of your life. That memory.
Right. That period. How long is that boot camp again?
Boot camp is 13 weeks.
13 weeks.
Yep.
2.5.
Longest range of boot camp for any branch.
Oh, really?
And that is just boot camp. That is nothing to do with your job.
Right. This is just physical preparation, mental preparation.
Yeah, you made it. You're a Marine. Cool. Now, every Marine is a rifleman.
Have you had moments that you thought like, sorry to interrupt that, so do you have moments that you thought, I'm not going to make it?
Oh, every day.
Oh, really?
The period when I thought at this point, either I leave here dead or as a Marine, was when I made through the halfway point.
You made it halfway?
Yeah. When I made the halfway point, I started focusing day by day. I started just thinking, hey, I'm not going to worry about tomorrow. I'm not going to worry about graduating. I'm not going to worry about a week from now. I'm not going to worry about training. I'm going to worry about today. If I make it today, I'm going to go to sleep and I'm going to wake up tomorrow. And then I'm going to worry about tomorrow when I wake up.
Exactly.
And that's how it happens.
So that's why you really became committed.
And I think that's a breakthrough. At some point, every recruit in Marine Corps boot camp gets to that phase of like, that's when it switches. And you're like, that's when we say a Marine's born. Like, you're like,
oh, really? Yeah,
this is it. I'm committed.
But also probably that you feel like I can do this.
Yeah. And of course, you start realizing it's not about you making it, it's about us making it.
Yeah.
Everybody here has to be in par to making this happen. And that's literally the Marine Corps in general. Marine Corps is such a small branch that it will never unilaterally work alone.
Right.
No Marine by itself can accomplish a mission. Right. You need, even if it's just 5, the 5 have to be really committed to their job, to their position, to excellence and everything. So I think that's what we focus on. But yeah, that's when I was like, yep.
And so then what kind of job did you get after boot camp?
I requested a communications job. I was a radio operator.
Radio operator?
So frequencies, radio management, etc.
Is that then on the field or is that?
Yeah, the guy with the antenna.
The guy with the antenna. Me. Yeah.
So the target, basically. They shoot me down, nobody can talk to nobody. So I was that guy, and I loved it. Yeah, because from there, as you rank up and you grow in the Marine Corps, then I became a radio chief, frequency manager, all these management positions that you start learning more about, not just radios, but they cross-train you with data, computers, and now technology that obviously you start seeing when you're a senior member, senior leader. You start training on all these other technology that the communications that the military has that are not out there for the public. So, but yeah, it was fun
and a good education at the same time.
Yeah, of course, because all that is a college credit. So when you leave the military, that paid for my electives, like all my military training, like a year and a half of college credits and electives. All these courses that we receive in the military are accepted as college credits by universities, depending on your major, of course.
Right.
Like if I went on a communications type of or electronic type of job or major in college, a lot of the things I learned in the Marine Corps would have applied. But since it's aviation, I had nothing to do with aviation. My electives are gone. Like like music, blah blah, all that stuff are gone, and other management classes as well. So, not bad.
Wow, so many experiences already. Such a
31.
You seem very driven. You're very driven. You're very focused, and I guess thanks to the Marine Corps, even more so.
Yep. I got what I wanted. Which it wasn't recognition, it wasn't to be, rich or a college. It was more of a personal determination for me to
accomplish,
build myself, and prepare myself for whatever next. This is the next step for me.
Yeah.
Aviation.
Because you came out of the Marine Corps and you did not want to. Coming out of the Marine Corps, what were your thoughts actually?
I had no idea
at first, right?
And it's weird. It's a question that I get asked a lot, because a lot of people are like, again, you're so passionate about aviation, blah blah. Like, when did you start this? I always have, but honestly, when I got out, and even as my rank, because I was a staff sergeant, when I got out, I was like, oh, I think I'm ready. I've managed. I've been in charge of Marines, blah blah. Like, I think I can do this. When you get out of that shell of protection, of like, whether I go to work or not, I'm getting paid. I have medical insurance. I don't have to apply for anything. The only thing you worry about as a military member is paid taxes. Paid taxes. Don't do nothing stupid. Don't do nothing illegal.
Yeah.
Well, when you come out, you don't have nowhere to show up. Nobody's telling you what to dress.
Right.
Nobody's telling you what to do next. Nobody's telling you what is your next move to get promoted. Nobody is driving your ambition to go forward. Anything.
Right.
You can do literally whatever you want. But that is such a dumbfounding idea for us, because we've always been like, all right,
that is so interesting that you mentioned that. I never thought of that, but that is so true, right?
It is.
The military is sort of a road, it's a path.
Yeah.
And they tell you when to take the next step and how to take it, and everybody is there to guide you. It's a machine.
Pretty much. And it works in a sense, because again, like my job, I was communications. I knew exactly what to study and what step to take to get promoted.
Right.
And when I got promoted, to actually be able to be a successful leader in my promotion and my billet or my position.
Right.
Because now I was in charge of, other communication assets that I had to learn. So I knew what to study. Right. I knew, okay, I need to start focusing on...
Not everybody can do that, of course, but you could, and you did the work, and then you earned that new level of...
Correct. But out here is like, hey, you literally can do anything. But what?
Yeah,
you're good at a lot of things. Because
at first you must have been lost.
I was lost. I was like, you know what?
Imagine.
But my first step was, enroll in college, get a class done, start moving. Because 1 class, 2 classes, 3 classes, doesn't matter. Just start something. And I knew that education is just going to start guiding you. Again, you start networking with people that are ambitious at something. And you start finding yourself, and it might take, for me, it took almost a year, I would say, after I got out, to really decide, okay, you know what, I'm going to apply for an aviation job, like I said, starting, pushing back airplanes, whatever.
But you didn't finish then college?
Not yet. That is a personal goal that I want to start, but right now I want to focus on the piloting, because that's going to take me longer than my degree. My degree, I can do it online, and I've been doing it online.
But I would argue that, studying for a pilot and becoming a pilot, that's the same as a college degree.
Yes and no. So here's the difference between now, especially right now that a lot of airlines are needing pilots for the next 5-6 years.
Okay.
What gets me in a cockpit or a flight deck is having a license. It's not a degree.
Right. It's not,
degree
not
is not even required anymore for airlines.
Oh, it used to be.
Yes, you're right. As of like 2 years ago, Delta was the first airline that said, you know what, we need pilots.
We don't need the bachelor's
degree, because it made a lot very competitive for hiring, and not a lot of people that went to college then had an extra $250,000 to pay for a license.
Right.
So a lot of pilots that were working for private companies or regional airlines didn't have a degree. And these are the people they can start hiring now.
Right.
It is a personal goal. I will finish my degree, and that's something that I don't care. It's going to happen within the next 5-10 years. You know what I mean?
Believe you, no doubt.
That's just kind of like a goal that I've set to myself. Will it help me? Probably in my aviation career as a pilot? Not really, because all the training you need to become a pilot, it's going to pilot school.
You never thought about becoming a military pilot? Because you talk to those guys.
Oh yeah, never.
Probably as a communication officer, you talk to pilots. You're close to those.
I like bigger airplanes. I think I just, you know, what motivates my aviation. I don't know. Passion is the traveling portion.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah.
You can connect the world in hours. You're like, I was in Atlanta, now I'm in Milan.
Yeah.
You know, let's go eat some pasta.
Yeah. That's what he likes.
Yeah. 24 hours you come in talking like this, you know, like. You know.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, I bet.
It's an interesting world. You get to see a lot of people. Connect with a lot of people.
Tell me one of the downsides of being a. Because with the pasta, you already convinced me. I want to be. But what are some of the downsides?
Downsides of the airline industry that you're away from home a lot. Okay, and a lot of times you're with everyone. It's a very lonely career at points, and I've seen this because you're with everyone, but you're with no one specific everywhere, but nowhere specific where you want to be because you're working. You know, you get to experience like, let's go to Paris, let's go here, let's go there, but you know, sometimes like I just want to be home.
Yeah.
I just want to be with my family. You can't, because you're with coworkers you enjoy. You meet so many people in the industry that are amazing, that are focused to making this whole crazy, you know, aviation operation happen. But you know, unless you're working the ground, you're everywhere. I've been in 4 states in one day, and it's like, okay, at the end of the day, you go back to a hotel, and repetition, you burn yourself out. So that's another thing that, you know, if people come into this industry, you have to pace yourself. You can't just work yourself out, because you're gonna. A lot of people, they end up in depression sometimes, you know, because they're just, they feel lonely or whatever.
So how are the days then? How do you, like you work like 5 days on and then you get 3 days off, or how?
I work 3 and 3, meaning I work for 3 days and I'm off for 3 days.
But those 3 days that you work, you gone.
I come home. Yeah, I'm gone. So for 3 days, I start my days. At the end of the day, whenever that day ends, I end up in a hotel in the city that we're going to lay over. And next day, depending on how many hours of rest I have, and whenever that flight that I'm assigned for leaves, I get on that aircraft and do 3-4 flights. It depends, 2 or 3 flights a day.
Okay.
And then that second day, we end up the last flight in whatever city, and I lay over there in a hotel.
So you may be in Milan but not have time for that pizza.
No. Hey, you make some time, I'll tell you.
Oh, you make time. You get time also.
On transoceanic flights like that, like Paris.
Long flights.
You have 24 hours mandatory.
Oh, okay.
Or 26.
Mandatory even. Oh, okay.
Yeah, because the FAA regulates a lot of that things. The companies go above and beyond what the FAA minimums are.
Okay.
Because then, you know, you minimize errors, and you know, that's how you kind of manage threat and error in this industry. You want to make sure that, you know, whoever's operating, pilots and flight attendants, they're doing their job and they're well rested.
Right.
You know?
Right.
So.
Well, it's a tough job. I mean, you're on your feet. I mean, you get to sleep on the plane too. Oh, tell me about that. Where do you sleep?
Depends on
while in the air.
Depends on the aircraft.
Oh.
We in Delta, we have all of our rest areas are under the aircraft, in a certain position on the aircraft in the middle. You don't get to see it. It's a door. It might look like a lavatory door or whatever. Obviously, it's blocked off to passengers. Nobody have access to that. And we have a key for that to go in.
I've never even seen a steward or stewardess go in or out of
we
those
go incognito.
Incognito. I'm telling you.
Incognito. And again, that door looks like another door, like a restroom door. You know,
but it's not a door that I would grab and.
Yeah, and it says only cabin crew.
Okay,
So a lot of times passengers are like, oh, that's probably a bathroom for them.
Yeah.
And no, it's like there are stairs that go down.
Yeah.
And there's bunks.
Bunk beds.
Mm-hmm.
With a little curtain, like the military.
Yeah, pretty much.
Basically.
So you see, not a lot has changed in my life.
No, it sounds a little bit like. I've seen those. Like I was on a Tiger cruise from Hawaii to San Francisco on the USS Enterprise, and I saw those. There they have those bunk beds too, like tiny little. I don't know. It's like I believe there were 3 stacked.
Yeah.
And these tiny little rooms, and they're like for 6 or for 12 people.
Yep.
It's amazing.
Anyway. If you're 6'5", which I've known people, if you're 6'5" or even 6'3", 6'5",
you don't fit.
You hate life. You hate life.
Oh, that's funny.
Because you're on those, like the Navy are on those for 9 months and a plus.
Yeah.
Me, when I was on ship in the Marine Corps with the Navy, max time that I was there was like 3-4 months.
Oh, so you were also on ship?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Oh, yeah.
And I was based in Japan. I
Okay.
lived in Japan for 2 years.
Okay.
And I did 2 MUs, what we call MU, Marine Expeditionary Units.
Okay.
And I got on ship and did operations, got out.
Is that classified for you to talk about these operations?
No, because I mean, really, I don't really remember details of the operations. It's just training operations.
Okay.
We went to Philippines. We went to South Korea. I did an operation.
There were no wars going on.
No. These are just training operations in conjunction with U.S. allies. So the Australians were there. The French, the Germans were on board with us.
Okay.
The British, of course, were with us, and
of course. I mean, there's 6 American ships and then half a British ship. No?
Yeah. I mean, well, these are smaller. These are like more marine amphibious operations.
Oh, okay.
These are not huge naval operations. Like, there's not an aircraft carrier, like a huge aircraft carriers. There's 2 types of aircraft carriers in the Navy. There's a big aircraft carrier per se, like the Enterprise, like you said, and then there's an amphibious aircraft carrier.
Oh yeah.
Which the Royal Marines have the F-35 Bravo. The Marines we do too. The ones that land vertical. Those are the ones we operate. So we don't need a big, huge aircraft carrier to catapult an aircraft out. These aircrafts can take off in 400 yards, and they're in the air. So those are the ships that I was on, with about 5,000 people, 2,000 Marines.
5,000 people?
Yeah, 5.
Oh, that's still a lot.
Yeah.
Because the Enterprise had 5,000 people as well.
So 5,000 people not in the ship. 5,000 people in the whole fleet of ships.
Okay.
So there's 2 destroyers, us, like a logistics ship. And then, rumor said that there was a submarine around. I don't know. Never seen it. Don't know. Yeah. That's above my classification.
Right.
I mean, it sounds fun to believe so.
Right.
But I had fun doing those too, because we went to Hong Kong, Malaysia, Philippines, Guam, Thailand, the southern part of the mainline Japan, and I did Australia in a different operation, in South Korea. So
he just mentioned 10 countries, people. I mean, if you don't like geography, don't join the Marines.
Pretty much. Pretty much.
Wow.
Or the Navy, because the Navy
You've seen
will
the whole Asia over there.
Yeah.
And so, that's amazing though. So, but you were based in Japan?
Correct.
How's the food in Japan? Sushi?
Listen, I
good.
love Japan. Japan is amazing. Starting from the culture. Sushi. So my experience with sushi, I had never tasted sushi in my life.
Oh, really?
Ever.
Never raw fish?
Okay. I'll take it back. Okay. I tried Publix sushi and I almost puke.
Publix?
Yeah. I mean, not because probably was bad. I just knew nothing about, and the raw fish, and probably I don't know. I don't know what it was, but my experience with sushi from Publix sushi was terrible when I was younger. Way before I even decided to join the Marine Corps. That was my memory of what sushi tasted. Of course.
Right.
Now I go to Japan. It's like going to Mexico and not eating tacos and thinking it tastes like Taco Bell, right?
Exactly.
So I go to Japan, and my friends, like all my superiors they've been on the island for like, I don't know, years or whatever. They're like, "No, man, you gotta taste sushi." Yeah. So they take me to this like authentic, like you gotta take your shoes off, you gotta sit on the floor, you gotta cross your and they give you cultural classes too before you go to a country. Mm-hmm. So now you're applying all this, how to learning how to eat with the chopsticks and stuff like that. I'm gonna tell you something. Long story short,
That's so
I ate sushi almost every day for the first month and a half I was there.
Oh,
then it got expensive, and then I cut it down to 3 times a week. But yes, it was amazing. And then I developed that taste, and I love it. And now, over here, sushi connoisseur, I come back to the States like, oh, this is disgusting. You know, unless it's like a sushi master, I'm not gonna eat. I'm like, okay, stop. You gotta stop. It's not Japan. Don't expect.
Yeah, but at least you know. Yeah, exactly. But at least you know what sushi should taste like.
Correct.
And then when you shop out here in Fort Myers, you probably know some, restaurants that have an original Japanese family in the kitchen or something, where the taste comes a little closer. I mean, it's still Americanized, I'm sure.
Yeah. I think that, and again, I don't know probably enough or it's been so long to even speak about the culture, but I think the where the taste comes from is from the freshness of the seafood.
Yeah.
Just like any.
It has to be. It has to be fresh.
It's like when you buy beef, you know.
Like,
you buy old beef or nasty beef, you're not gonna like it.
Yeah, you're gonna be chewing forever.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, interesting. And Japan is also, it's a real different culture. Just the way you pictured that, like you come in, you take off your shoes, you go down on the floor.
Yep.
You sit, I guess, on your knees, or how do you sit?
You sit Indian style, like that's how they used to teach us in the Marine Corps. Probably that's a little offensive, but you sit with your legs crossed.
And you have a little table in front of you?
Yeah, you have a little table, and then they serve you sake or whatever, and you eat, and then before you sit down, you bow and all that stuff. And you do it, even though we're all Americans, just for respect of the culture. Because, it's something that goes thousands of years behind, and they take so much pride.
Sure.
They take so much pride and it's amazing. It's an amazing culture. It's an amazing country. They're so respectful.
But you didn't fall in love with a Japanese and
that's a different story that I don't want to talk about.
Because
that goes to the dark side, and I don't want to expose myself like that right now.
Okay, that's fine.
But,
it's very good.
But to answer your question, yes. It was the best for me to not pursue anything like that. But yes,
I could imagine. It happened to me. So.
Yes. So, but I do have friends though that actually extended their time in Japan, finished their first 4 years of the contract, and decided to get out of the Marine Corps and stayed and married a Japanese.
Oh, but you can actually get out of the Marine Corps after 4 years?
Correct. After your 4 active duty years, that's your first contract. You can get out. I did 2 contracts. That's why I was in for 9, and an extension to one of the contracts for 2 years.
Oh, okay.
So that's why I stayed a little longer, because I re-enlisted when I went back.
So there's no rule against falling in love once you're in the foreign?
No. You can get married. A lot of people get married in the military, and the benefits roll in.
Yeah.
So now,
but also abroad, because abroad it's more difficult, no?
Right, but then there are a lot of programs where, let's say your wife, husband now, whatever, your significant other is not a U.S. citizen. The military has a lot of programs and people or lawyers within their military lawyers that will help you and guide you to process, this. So make sure that your family, at the moment of you leaving, or even if that person can't leave with you because you got married too late or whatever, the immigration process due to the marriage to ensure that person can come with you.
I bet also that you while you are in training, that they also warn you for these things, because I can imagine that a lot of poor countries, the women or the girls would try to get themselves an American soldier, right? Just to be able to get an American passport as well. There's
a lot of stories I've heard. I've never experienced one like people in my platoon or my unit, but I've heard of stories of like men going to Afghanistan and their wife come back and their apartment's empty, bank account's empty, woman's gone.
Right.
Letter saying, hey, I left back to Colombia or back to Philippines or whatever.
Right.
It's crazy. Yeah. So yeah, they do warn you.
Not like that, or that it could be true love, but I mean, an American is just a very, how do you say that? That's good equity.
Yeah.
And so it's a good investment for a woman, and if you live near a base or you see the American soldiers, especially abroad in poor countries.
Yes, it happens a lot, but you know, the military and leadership can only brief and warn. They can't control your life. You know, if you decide to get married, hey.
But there's not a pastor that comes talking to you first, like, hey, are you sure that you're doing the right thing?
I mean, before you do anything stupid like that, when I was a staff sergeant, I'd be like, hey, you're gonna come to me, talk to me first.
Yeah.
We're gonna have a conversation. But the conversation was more along the lines, hey, you know, like, how do you feel? Are you comfortable? Are you really committed to this decision?
Yeah.
If so, like, the only thing I can do is support you, man. But, you know, have in mind that if anything goes south, you can come and talk to me for leadership, you know, to try to get any problem solved. But I mean, we couldn't do but nothing wish the best, you know.
It's really
hopefully
like,
20 years from now, you know, you come talk to us like, remember that conversation we had 2 kids later, 3 kids later, these are my kids, this is my wife, you know, we love each other, amazing family. Like, that's what we want to hear.
Right.
But, you know, obviously the divorce rate in the military is really high. So whether we're going to see that or not, time would tell. We were hoping that, you know, that person was making a good decision, that they were actually committed to each other for the good and right reasons. But yeah, that's
it almost sounds like a parent that wants to make sure, like, hey, congratulations, but let's also talk. Let's have an open. It's almost the parent that everybody should have.
Because you can't tell them no, you're not going to marry that person, you know, legally.
No, exactly. You cannot say no.
I can't. But
it's their decision, right?
Exactly. So that's the only thing, just to make sure that person. That's a nice car.
Yeah, I should not scratch that, right?
No, please don't. Because I can't get home now because you're trying to pay an Aston Martin, and your insurance bill will be high.
Oh, that's an Aston Martin, yeah.
It is,
and that is a cabrio. You don't see those too often.
Where are you from?
I'm from the Netherlands.
Oh, I love Amsterdam.
Oh, you've been there, of course.
I've been there.
Jeez.
Well, yeah, I mean, we fly.
In your case, I should ask, well, where haven't you been? Right?
A little bit.
But yeah, you liked Amsterdam?
I did. I loved it. But the thing is that I didn't have enough time to explore Amsterdam. Okay. But you know, Amsterdam is like it's like a city like New York. There's more to Netherlands than Amsterdam.
Oh, that's for sure. Yeah.
And that's what I want. That's what I like to know. Like, when I go and explore a country, I like to have my own time. Let's land in Amsterdam, but let's rent a car or get in the train and go out.
Yeah, that's always best, right?
Yeah, and I've met a lot of people from, you know, Dutch people that have told me the same. He's like, you can go to Amsterdam 20 times. You can live in Amsterdam, you will not know Netherlands. Like, that's not Netherlands.
No, it's not. So, but it's still a special place.
Oh no, of course, it's an iconic.
And it's also a place that the Dutch are proud of, I think. Most of us, you know, just like Americans are proud of New York, right?
Yeah,
it's a beautiful. I mean,
LA,
there's only
New York,
exactly. But it's still, these are little pearls of society.
Yeah.
But it doesn't show you the whole United States.
No. But like, when I go to Mexico or like Central America, I feel like because there's more time and I speak Spanish, I speak the language, and I feel more comfortable in like exploring by my own. I don't have to go in a group or whatever, you know.
Right.
I like going to like where mom and pops eats with the family.
Yeah,
Sunday,
exactly. Yeah,
you know, I don't want to go to like, oh, this restaurant is famous on TikTok or YouTube, and everyone goes. No, that's exactly where I don't want to go.
Right.
Because eventually a good restaurant becomes too famous that quality goes away, and the reasons why they were known for, they go to trash. So yeah, I want to try the waffles, but give me in the corner in the whole that store that no one knows that is there, but everybody knows that is there.
Like Waffle House.
Okay. You know what? I think I'm done talking to you already. Waffle House is for 2 a.m. coming out of the club.
Yeah, right, that's true.
If you go to Waffle House sober, there's something wrong with you. That's my fair assessment of you right now. Whoever goes in there.
No, but that's not a mom and pop store, but this is that store that's
definitely not a mom and pop store.
It's somewhere in the corner and it's hidden usually, and you know, nobody goes there.
Everybody knows it's there, but it's not like a chain store, you know.
Right.
So
so mind me asking, where are you from? Where were you born and raised?
I was born here, raised in Honduras.
Honduras, so you're Honduranian. Tegucigalpa or
La Ceiba.
So, you must have some exciting stories about The landing into Tegucigalpa.
You see, that's the funny part. I've never been to Tegus. I never landed there.
Oh, really?
Now even that airport's closed. Well, it's not closed, but it's not.
Oh.
Major U.S. airlines don't fly in there anymore. They fly to Palmerola, where the U.S. base was. They made a huge airport there.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm. So, obviously, it's safer and more modern.
They did that for safety? Yeah?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
And it's a bigger, modern airport, you know. It's about 30-45 minutes away from city center.
Oh, that's not bad at all.
Yeah, no. So more flights can come in on a daily basis because obviously there's more gates. The airport's huge.
Yeah.
So now instead of the one Spirit flight, one Delta, one United, now United flies like 4 flights a day. Spirit flies like 3 flights a day.
Oh.
So
El Salvador used to be a hub. I know where a lot of flights would go, but I flew in Tegus a couple of times.
Okay.
And that was scary. Man, you could like see the mountaintops next to the window, and then the plane would like just dive into the valley.
Cut off engine power.
Exactly. And then somehow miraculously touch down. I've seen actually pictures of planes that would touch down too late and then fly off the runway at the end, things like that.
Yeah, I think at some point it became the most dangerous commercial airport in the world.
I believe so. Yeah, yeah. That was a ride. Crazy. It was a roller coaster ride.
Oh yeah, I'm telling you, some people left their nails in those little handles. Like, like no.
But as a pilot, that must be so much fun to do.
You have to be certified to go there.
Oh, of course.
You couldn't
Special
just be
training.
like exactly.
Yeah.
It's like St. Martin and those small St. Lucia. You know, those small airports that they require a little. That's like literally on the beach.
Yeah.
Well, that's a Dutch. That's Queen Beatrice, right? That's the name of the airport. Yeah. Anyway, those small airports like that, you couldn't just like fly in and like, hey, I'll take this trip from you. And no, you had to be certified. You know?
So, born American, but I would then say
raised in Honduras.
Roots in Honduras.
Yep. I studied there abroad my entire life. I would come back and forth. You know, summer school, whatever. I would come back, visit family.
So your parents, you had family here and you had family back then?
Correct.
Yeah. Honduras is beautiful. It's still poor.
Have you gone to Roatan?
No.
The island? Oh my god. You've been to Tegus, but you've never been to Roatan. That's crazy.
No. I wasn't
you must go.
I used to work there.
Oh, okay. No, Roatan is awesome. Actually, American flies directly there from Miami.
There's an base, an airport on Roatan?
Just an airport, yeah, airport. It's an international airport.
I want to see it, Roatan. Did you say Roatan?
R-O-A-T-A-N. Roatan, yep. R-O-A.
R-O-A?
R-O-A. R-O-A-T-A-A. There you go. The first one.
Roatan. Okay, people, don't do this when you're at home. Oh, and I'm driving next to a sheriff car. Can you believe that? I'm on my phone, like I'm looking at Google Maps, and the sheriff just passes me. Jeez, Mark.
Great timing.
Okay, but now I have seen. Oh, that is far out of Honduras, actually.
So from La Ceiba, where I lived, to Roatan is a 3-hour ferry ride. 2 hour and a half, depending on the waters. Beautiful. And on the side, you have Guanaja and Utila, which are 2 different other islands.
Okay.
The second biggest barrier reef starts in Roatan and goes all the way down to Belize.
Ooh, for snorkeling and
so stuff. Beautiful snorkeling is very, very popular for that.
Wow.
It's safe. I think it's 4 to 5 cruises a day.
Oh, the islands are safe as well? Because Tegus is not really safe.
Yeah, but you have to have in mind, these islands, they live out of tourism. That doesn't benefit them on, such a developing country that to attack, what feeds them, which is tourism. Of course, sometimes I think that people overdo it with the unsafety in Central America.
Yeah.
I'm telling you right now, Chicago is more dangerous than any country.
I bet.
Any country.
So true. Yeah, that's a good point.
But just because it's in the U.S., that crime is okay.
Yeah.
It's so bothering to me.
Yeah.
Because they marginalize these kind of, it's a third world country.
Well, it's because they put out all these warnings.
Right, but then you go to Chicago, you can get shot. In San Francisco, don't leave anything in your car because they're gonna break in just to look. Even if they don't see anything, they will break into your car. Like, it's crazy to me. Like, it's a lot of cities in the United States are far more, 100% more dangerous than any country together.
In Central America.
Because now Salvador is pretty good now. Salvador is
it is. Salvador is doing amazing with this new president, Bukele. Thank you. How he's cleaning up the country.
He did.
It's more a little bit like a dictator, but yeah, people love him for it.
Hey, you know,
that's what it takes, right?
Bring it on. I mean, he did changes that in 50 years you haven't seen in the country,
right?
Or more, actually. And it's working.
Yeah.
You gotta. I wouldn't call him. It's on the. I guess it's on the borderline. Is that gray area of dictatorship? Yeah. I think that he just made laws more stricter.
Yeah, but especially the way he did things, like.
That's kind of like a show of power. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because I'm with you. Like, if you look in the human rights side, I agree with you. It's not the most humane way.
Exactly. He throws people in prison like there's no tomorrow, without any.
If you're a marero, like, you're done.
Right. If you have the wrong tattoo, you're done.
Pretty much. Yeah.
Which makes it so easy for him, because he just declared those gangs illegal, and anyone with that tattoo means, like, okay, you're part of the gang. Mm-hmm. So you're illegal. kind of thing.
That's crazy. Yeah, that's true.
But so, and what is the situation in Honduras like? Because I said Tigos is unsafe. That is 20 years ago, Mark. Or 15 years
pretty much
ago.
Nothing has changed. I haven't lived in Honduras for, since I joined the Marine Corps. That's more than 10 years. Okay. I haven't lived continuously there. But, for my family and everything, what's eating Honduras and a lot of these developing countries, it's not the lack of resources, it's not the lack of... I would stay on the... Oh, you can't now.
Oh, okay.
Because it's going to be a left after you turn here. It's not the lack of resources or anything, it's just corruption.
Oh, really?
Corruption?
Yeah, okay, no, yeah.
Corruption is...
Yeah, that is the number one thing that does these countries. Yeah.
Because you see, one of the things that not only gangs have Bukele fought in El Salvador, he started cleaning government.
Yeah, exactly.
Like ambassadors would have the whole family, the secretary for the secretary in Brussels, making $2,000. Like, who makes $2,000 a month in Salvador? No one. Oh, but wait a minute. You're married to the cousin of the ambassador. That's why. Makes sense. You're the secretary to the ambassador, and you have an office. Right. And then now your whole family has to move there, and the government has to pay for their school there and their living and blah blah blah. He's like, no more. No, you don't need a secretary, and especially you don't need your wife as a secretary.
Right.
And then your wife's cousin doesn't need to be a secretary to the secretary in another place in Belgium. So that's what he started doing, and it's a famous He became famous because he started firing people in the government through Twitter.
Through what?
Through Twitter.
Oh, he did?
Mm-hmm. By name.
Know that.
Oh, look it up. It's on Twitter. It's everything. It's there.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah,
this is the new way of running a business, a country.
Yeah, he's like, out of here.
You better check your Twitter feed because you may be out of a job
His
tomorrow.
mentality was,
wow.
Look, it's not that we don't make enough money. Is that it would be enough if we didn't stole it. El Salvador makes enough money to survive and thrive.
Yeah.
Probably not yet to be a developing country but we wouldn't be such a mess if its own governors did not steal the money that was there to develop the people. Exactly. To put us in a place to move on forward and actually start thinking of trying to be like Canada, like the United States, to do start doing commerce. But we can't even level off because you steal the money. It's not that we don't have enough money. Y'all steal it, everything. The whole budget is stolen. Yeah. And they just give it away to their families on these made-up positions in government. They're all driving Prados and Toyota Hiluxes and brand new everything. When the people are getting killed by gangs, because they even pay you. The gangs pay you for you allowing them to be in the streets.
Exactly.
So it's not only enough the fact that you steal the money from the government, but then the gangs are paying you millions of dollars for you authorizing them to operate in the streets, killing Salvadorians, which is crazy. So seeing it from that perspective, I'm like, you know what? He's done good, but yeah.
He is, and it's too bad really that the world doesn't have more leaders like Bukele.
Yeah.
But it's only, I think that only works when a country is in disarray like that.
Correct.
And needs a strong leader, because he also fired judges like there was no tomorrow. Things like that.
So that's a part where I agree.
It's not democratic.
No,
right?
It's very questionable.
Exactly.
Very questionable.
Yeah. And so that does not work once a country's up and running.
Yeah.
You gotta, abide by the law and do things.
Yeah, of course. The changes have to be per what the Constitution allows you to do.
Yeah.
So, no, I agree with you on that part, but...
Luis, it has been such a pleasure talking to you.
It's
amazing, this one?
Yes, sir.
It has been quite entertaining. The 50 minutes or whatever this was flew by. You have been, I'm telling you, you've been talking non-stop. I had a few questions, I agree, but wow. And what an interesting life you've got. You're only 30. I hope to drive you again when you're 50.
Hopefully.
And oh no, wait, then I'm 70. Wait, no, I hope I'm not.
I hope you're not driving at 70.
I got some future plans too. Don't know what they are, but not driving for Uber my whole life. But yeah, it's been so entertaining. I learned a lot about.
It's fun. It's fun. It's fun life, Can't complain.
Life is a beautiful thing, and it's about the experiences that we have. Yep. And you're definitely in the right job to have experiences.
Yes, sir. Trying to live just day by day. That's one thing that I learned in the Marine Corps. Day by day. Don't worry about tomorrow. Have a plan, of course. Have a plan. You can't just wing it, but just day by day.
Day by day. I'm gonna put that under your video.
Nice.
No,
that blue car right there. That's
all right.
My parents are
and
home.
you had a suitcase,
Home-cooked meal for today.
Oh man,
yes.
Let it go.
No airplane food.
All right.
Thank you, sir.
Sir.
Oh yeah, it's
Yeah, probably.